All right, welcome to movement. Everybody say movement. Movement. When we talk about one of the big five, it's big because I don't want you to miss it. We talk about everything: cancer, heart disease, high blood pressure, depression, but when you hit one of the big five essentials, you don't miss it. So you guys that are online, thank you for being here. We're going to go through stuff fast. We're going to go through stuff strong. Everybody say strong. Now, who wants to come listen to a great talk, clap, and go home unchanged? Raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. Raise your hand if you'd like to actually have something dramatically change because you came today. Raise your hand. So that's basically all of us. Let's do that today, okay? So first of all, what's the purpose? Well, our purpose in general is that we are the standard of natural health care where everyone is empowered to live their full potential. And that's literally new for Max Living. I was actually in the room with a small group of doctors from Max Living, and we came up with our new basic purpose as an organization. That's it. Got it? So it's the new standard. We are the standard of natural health care. There's lots of natural health care out there, but this is the standard first. You can do other things, but this is it. So you guys are the first people to see this as Max Living patients. Can I get an amen? Whoop, whoop. So good. But I want to start with this as well. There's lots of reasons people don't move more. There's lots of reasons people don't get results like they should. And we're going to talk about those. We're going to overcome those tonight. But there's a couple people I want to just encourage you with, because if somebody else can do it, usually it means that it encourages you that you can do it. Can I get an amen for that? Yeah. Right? So I'm going to have you stand up here in a second. But Kristen, actually, we've known she's been a patient for a long time. You came to work for me when?
2009.
2009. So the old office. Wow, in the old office?
Yeah.
Wow. And she keeps coming, so that says a lot. But Kristen has really stepped up her game. She's done a lot of great stuff. How much weight have you lost total?
65 pounds.
65. How about since before you worked? Like it was more than that before you worked for us.
Yeah, originally I lost 100, then I kind of gained some back, and then I lost again. So
yeah, but just since at least last year, I know, 65 pounds. Can I get a amen for that? 65 pounds. So something that Kristen did, actually just come up here. So Kristen, everybody say hi, Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
So Kristen, she just started just moving. So how did you start?
I just started signing up for 5Ks originally, and my main goal was just to finish. However, even if I was last, it didn't matter. I also started doing a workout program by Diamond Dallas Page, which for me was a really good fit personally.
Diamond Dallas.
Yes.
Yeah. So she just started doing 5Ks. Did you meet cool people doing 5Ks?
Yeah. And I started having some friends join me, and eventually I even got my office to do one. So.
Got a lot of t-shirts?
Yeah, I gotta have a whole drawer full of t-shirts.
All right, so now watch this. So how many 5Ks have you done?
I don't even know. Like, at least 20, 25. I mean, it's probably more than that.
Is that awesome?
Yeah.
The first year we did 20.
The first year they did 20. Okay, yeah. So some of you guys don't know, is I always try to encourage you guys. Can you guys see that maybe a little bit? I always try to encourage you. But sometimes I need to be encouraged to encourage you. Well, guess what? Every single Saturday I get a text. Guess who I get it from? Kristen. I can count on it like the sun coming up in the morning. And she thinks I'm probably just saying this, but I do more because I know Kristen's out there doing it. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, I'll get a Saturday text and she'll be like, got my 12 miles in a day. I'm like, 12 miles? Like, did you drive 12 miles? Like, is that a map where you drove? Like, she's just killing it. So here's the thing. The pictures blown your mind. To see her from last year to this year, crazy difference, and we're just so proud of you. So let me ask you this. Is it motivation or routine that has kept you going?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I think really what's made it different for me this time around is just staying consistent and staying committed.
What was it you said the other day? It was so good.
I get up every day now at 5:15, and I was never a morning person before. So not being a morning person is not an excuse.
Yeah,
it sets the tone for the whole day.
Bam.
Yeah.
Everybody say set the tone. Also, you said that you get up and you work out now, not necessarily so you just keep the weight off, but something else.
It really helps me mentally too, probably more so than anything else.
You get that?
I'm a lot less stressed out, a lot less irritable, more alert, more awake, and it's just, honestly, that's probably more the reason than just physical.
All right, now watch this. So are you breaking records?
Personal records?
Personal.
Yeah, personal records,
that?
yes.
So it's not about you trying to compete with everybody. Some of you guys are like, well, if I can't be the best, I'm not going to do it. No, it's not about that. Can you see how she's radically changed her life? So crazy. So give her a big round of applause. You're awesome. Good. All right, so come here, Bob. So Bob has been a patient for quite a while too. Bob had like a health scare a while back And I think it kind of put him into, anybody have a family friend or somebody, maybe it was you or somebody that you know, that had a family, like a health emergency, and some kind of woke them up, and they've been really doing a whole lot more since they got woke up, you know what I'm talking about? So Bob had one of those moments, but Bob, when he went back, he couldn't run. Tell us again why you couldn't go running.
Well, first of all, I ended up surprised in the hospital about 5 years ago where they were wanting to take my colon and turn it into a semicolon.
Jokes are free tonight, people.
Okay. Avoided the surgery actually with a couple hours or minutes to spare.
Yeah.
And then actually some divine intervention and healing took place. And that's a whole story in itself, which would give glory to God.
Amen.
But then I badly twisted my knee with my granddaughter going down. I was going down a water slide, and I sort of left my foot behind, and it twisted it bad.
We got to over here.
So all I did was for a year and a half. For a long time, I couldn't walk, and then to move, I started just walk. For a year and a half, all I did was walk.
Yeah, and you had a knee or something.
Yeah, it really, really hurt my knee bad.
Anybody have a joint that keeps you from doing something you want to do?
Yeah.
Raise your hand. Right. Okay. Good.
So I couldn't run, but I could walk. And so for a year and a half, I just walked, but a fairly brisk one. I would do 30 minutes. Even if I was traveling, which I did a lot, I'd do it in the fitness center in the hotel.
He went to this crazy place that said if you just walked 30 minutes a day, you could decrease colon cancer 42%, breast cancer 63%, heart disease and diabetes 85%. I don't know, it's weird.
I forgot those percentages, but I walked anyway. And so for a year and a half, I just walked. I would do 2 miles in 30 minutes, a good 4-mile-an-hour clip. And then about a year and a half ago, well, actually in about April last year, I realized that instead of walking the 2 miles, I could jog a little bit. So I began to do that. And then just over a year ago, I did my first personal 5K. And I thought I'd climb Mount Everest. I mean, it was a real chore for me to do.
And that knee?
That knee, by that time, was fine. It was
So-
pain-free.
Moving his knee,
Yeah.
guess what happened to his knee?
Yeah. So knee has been fine.
Yeah.
I just have to take care of myself.
Now you had a big goal starting this year. Tell me what it was.
Well, last year I keep track of my app, and so a couple years ago I did 300 miles or something, and last year 540. So this year I was going to do 660.
Which is the whole state of Texas.
That's as the crow flies. That's across Texas. But I realized I was going to get there too fast, so I upped it. I checked from Texarkana to El Paso on the highway is 812.4 miles. So that's my goal for the year, and I'm about 650 right now.
650 miles.
Yeah.
Like I can't even drive that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so big round of applause for him. So my big thing is, so something that you said, so I think it was you that was telling me, like, it just makes you more resilient to stress. Is that what you're talking about that?
Oh yeah, I sleep better, and I sleep better. Stress, had been quite susceptible to stress, and so this is helping me a lot. One of the coolest things is I'm finding, strangely, it's been an inspiration to other people to start doing stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you said that too? Have you seen that too?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the other thing too is you said that this is the leanest you've been since when?
Oh, I'm at teenage weight. I am lighter than when we got married. I wasn't intending to lose weight, but I'm down 25 pounds in the last 2 years. It just happened, just from all the movement.
Awesome. Give him a big round of applause. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate you, brother. So what you guys are going to find is, it is absolutely a misnomer to think that we should actually gain weight as we age. We should actually get leaner as we age, and you can see that in all populations that don't have Americanized situations or lifestyles, and it's literally that way. So who's ready to get this under control? Everybody ready to start? So here we go. So how do we do that? Well, start with this. We need to crush excuses first of all, okay? What's the excuses? There's a lot of excuses. I'm too tired, I don't have time, some pain, I have something that hurts. Someone said lazy, but that's just a label, don't label, right? But there's lots of excuses. We're gonna go through that, okay? But there's a new thing that we're doing called Step It Up. Now, Step It Up tonight talks about stepping it up physically. I want you guys to step it up the rest of the year. Between now and the end of this year, I want you to step it up, at least in this, but some of us need to step it up in our Bible reading, or step it up in going to bed on time, or step it up on whatever, our relationships, or step it up in whatever. Got it? Eating right. So we need to take it another notch. I can tell you why, because it's never been a worse time to actually lose your health. Is that true or false?
Yes, true.
Like you do not want to go to the hospital. Can I get an amen for that? Don't, like you do not want to go. Like if it's ever been a bad time to go to the hospital, you don't want to go now, right? So how do we do that? Well, mindset towards exercise. So let's start with this. First of all, motivation's not going to get you there, okay? Who here's got really motivated? You bought, like you watched this, something on TV, you know, whatever, and you bought the videos and you're like, yes, I'm going to totally do this. And then you got motivated and then guess what? It lasted about a week and it was gone, if that, okay? Now, I like motivation. In fact, I'm leading a camp for chiropractors. It's like Navy SEALs meets Tony Robbins meets, you know, like, you know, Potter's house or something. Like it's going to be crazy. So it's like, it's going to be hardcore motivation. It's going to be awesome. The problem with it is on Monday, when those doctors go back to work and they go back and they sleep in their own bed Sunday night, they're waking up and guess who's going to be with them? Nobody, or their spouse who wasn't at camp. The motivation's not going to be there. Motivation's not going to get you there. Do you guys hear that? What it has to be is your mindset has to switch to a lot of this has to be about routine. Got it? You know what time you have to get up to get a shower and get breakfast. Yes? You know when you do laundry during the week. You know when you do your grocery shopping. These are things that are just routine for you. It's what you do. You don't have to do it, but you know if you don't do it, your life is harder if you don't. Yes? And so guess what? We just got to get it into routine. I have to tell you, traveling and like it was like camping at my son's house on a mat, like turning 100 times that night, like it was crazy. So tired, drive all day yesterday. Like I did not want to get up this morning at 4:30 and then go do a workout, which my wife like kills me on. But I literally got up. Do you know why? Because guess what time it is? It's Monday. Guess what time I get up on Monday? I get up at 4:30 whether I want to or not. And guess what? I felt great that I did. And this is what you have to do with your life. You have to get routine. Got it? And here's the thing. The fact that you don't at this point is not because you're not disciplined, it's because your mindset's wrong. For instance, look at this. Put your hand up. If I push on anybody's hand, yours or hers, if I push, I didn't tell you I was going to push, but as soon as I push, guess what she does? She pushes back. As soon as I tell you you have to get up at 4:30, guess what? You what? You push back. You don't have to do anything, but if you like to, love to, choose to, get to, it's your idea, guess what? You want to. For instance, if I give you a full paid trip to the Bahamas to go to the Exuma Islands to swim with pigs for a week, all paid, all the food you can eat, all the fun drinks you can have on a private yacht, but you have to get up at 3 in the morning to make a 5 o'clock flight to get there, you probably wouldn't even sleep. You'd be like, I can get up, yay! But if I told you got to get up at 4:30 to go work out tomorrow morning, you'd be like, hey, right? Why? Because you really want that trip. Got it? Yeah. Listen, the only reason you're not doing this stuff more now is because you don't know that you want it. You haven't convinced yourself that it's your idea, that you want to, love to, choose to, get to, it's your idea. Got it? So you got to figure out how to get it to be something that you want. As soon as you say, I have to, guess what? You've programmed yourself that you're not going to do it. Got it? Don't twist your neck, Bubba. I'm going to go adjust that neck. So just program yourself that I want to, love to, choose to, get to, it's my idea. Everybody say that. I want to, I love to, I choose to, I get to, it's my idea. Got it? Period. Program yourself. I want to. Do you know why you want to? Because as soon as you get to a certain point in your life where your joints are broken down, things are busted, you got to have surgery, you can't go do what you want to do, guess how much you'll want to do anything and everything to get it back. Yeah. So guess when you actually really do want it? Right now. Got it? So let's do that. So that's the mindset. Now, let's talk about a couple things. It boosts your mood. Can I get an amen from somebody? Do you feel better? Yes, you feel better. You know you feel better. How's your energy? Your energy's better. I'll go through the excuses of why we don't exercise here in a minute, but if you're tired, the biggest reason you should work out is because you're tired. So you don't want to be tired, right? Had a little lady one time, she's in her 70s. She came in as a patient. She's like still working. She's at a cubicle. She's tired from like 8:30 until noon, and then from 2 o'clock till she leaves because the whole metabolism is breaking down. So I taught her at a makeover. Anybody been to a makeover? Raise your hand. And what do we do at a makeover? We run in place. And so she runs in place for 20, 30 seconds at a makeover, and she's like, I was so tired. I was like falling asleep. And actually I knew she was falling asleep because she's on the front row. So I stood everybody up and I had them run. And then guess what happened to everybody's attention span? They were like, ding, like this. And she goes, that makes sense. I'm going to do that at work. And guess what? Every time she felt tired at work, guess what she did? In front of God and everybody, stood up at her cubicle and was like, she goes, it's better than espresso. I'm like, yes, more ways than you know. So guess what? A big reason is it changes your psyche. Got it? Who do you think, or do you think more people than not need to be more resilient to the stress that's crazy right now. And absolutely. So at the end of the day, guess what? This is what everybody needs. So what's next? This is just some crazy stuff. You know, only 12% of high schoolers are actually getting the recommended amount of exercise. 12%. This is why we're seeing stuff like childhood obesity and then adolescent obesity tripling in the last 40 years. This is crazy talk. Like 23 years ago, I went to like the public pool. With Kimberly, we didn't have a pool, so we just go to the public pool. And there was just like maybe one person that was overweight there. And then when the kids were growing up, like they were still small, we were in a little house, we didn't have a pool. We went to the public pool with the kids, and there was times where there's just kids everywhere. And then there was like maybe 1 or 2 kids that were obese. And then years go by, we got our own pool, and then we just went to the public pool one day because we wanted to go do the water slides and stuff like this, right? And guess what we saw? I mean, I cried for like, I couldn't even talk. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit in the corner. I can't handle it. Because all I saw were like, not like obese kids, morbidly obese kids. Kids that were so obese, their nipples were inverted and like just horrible, like 6 rolls, like crazy stuff. And I'm not to judge them, not to like laugh. It is just sad that we've gotten to a point right now where that's even possible. And so this is a big part why. Next, sedentary lifestyle. The average adult spends 6.5 hours sitting a day. And sitting is the new what? Cancer. It's cancer or smoking. It's the new smoke. Actually, I don't want you to smoke either. It's horrible for your health. But you're actually healthier smoking than you are sitting. If you sit 6.5 hours a day, it's worse for your health than smoking a pack of cigarettes. And so how do you combat that? Listen to me, everybody. This right here, this may be the greatest thing that I've ever done for you. I'm not even joking. This thing, moving on this wobble cushion back and forth. Do you know how often in the course of even a day that you actually do this with your back at all? Almost none. And do you know that movement is the only way that your discs actually rehydrate? 90% of your discs have no blood supply at all. So if you're not moving, they're not rehydrating when you get out of gravity at night, which is why you're taller when you wake up in the morning, because it's called imbibition. That's how all the nutrients get into your disc. You get out of gravity, they swell up, and then throughout the day they go like this, and it's like an accordion. And at night they swell, and that's how they get nutrition from the capillary beds in the bone. But if you're not moving, they don't actually soak up as much. So you go through a year, 2, 3, and you actually haven't done this wobble cushion. You haven't used your spine. You're sitting at a computer all day long. Guess what your discs are doing? Week in, week out, week in, week out, week in, week out, week in, week out. They're actually getting dry and cracking and then degenerating, right? But just moving on a wobble cushion, some of this is so important. Some of you guys should have this at your office, at your home, at your neighbor's house if you ever go say hi. Like you should have one of these everywhere. Got it? Huge, okay? Now let's just hit the problem right where it's at. Now you can just, I don't feel like it, it's too difficult, their gyms too expensive, or they make you wear a mask. Hello? What the heck is that about? I don't even want to get into that. Who wants to work out with a mask on? Do you think you should work out with a mask on? Man, it's ridiculous, for the love of Pete. I don't know where to start. I don't have the time. So let's just hit it, okay? First one, I don't have time. Well, if I had a box, a cardboard box, and I've actually seen $1 million cash. I put $1 million cash in bricks in a cardboard box, taped it up, put your name on it, put it in your house. You can open this in 1 year if 5 days a week or whatever, you worked out 30 minutes a day. Every single week, 5 days. Now if you did it in 1 year, I'll give you $1 million cash. Raise your hand if you do that. Okay, for everybody that didn't raise your hand, you are completely lost. I cannot help you. Please see him at the front desk and maybe buy some product. We'll see you next time. The point is, if you really want something, you will what? Make the time. Time is not the problem. Your desire is the problem. The problem is you just don't see it. Got it? And so that's the first one. Again, the tired thing, okay? Again, we have to charge the batteries. Let me hit this. Everybody say Roger. Roger. Sperry. Sperry. Roger Sperry in 1986 won a Nobel Prize, and he found that the brain is a battery. Got that? It's an electrical charging device. It actually holds electricity, and it runs the body from the electrical charge that it has. In fact, actually they did a subset study in Johns Hopkins where they actually took wires on a rabbit and they harnessed the trophic electricity from the brain and ran a radio from all the electrical energy in the brain of a rabbit, and they just let it play until the rabbit died, and then they hooked up another rabbit and off it went again. Your brain is electric. Do you know how your brain gets charged? Say it. Movement. And 95% of the charge of your brain comes from your spine, and 90% of that comes from the neck. Do you get that? Which is why when you have jacked up spine, your batteries don't charge the way that they should. Get it? The problem with it is most people don't realize that their batteries aren't charging. If I gave you a Tesla, it's a cool car, but if it only charged 10, 15% of what it could, you probably don't want it because you're not going to be able to do much with it. Got that? Yours is exactly, you're the greatest Tesla that was ever made, right? Creatively and amazingly, right? Fearfully, wonderfully made. The problem with it is you have to charge the batteries. Got it? Now, what are some easy ways to do that? Okay, I'm going to overcome a couple things. First of all, when it comes to the excuses on this, the number one is time. Okay, first of all, how do you actually get it in there? If you don't plan, then you plan to fail. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Got it? Which means you start off with a commitment during the week, for the week, that says, this is exactly when I'm going to do it. If that's when you do it, then that's when you do it. 4:30 is when I get up. I don't want to do it, but that's when I do it. So guess what? That's when we do it. Got it? So the same thing for you. Make your commitment and then stick with your commitment. Got it? That's how you make the time. Okay, everybody with me? And then what happens if life throws you a curveball? Because is life going to throw you a curveball? Yeah, as soon as you actually think that you're going to go to bed earlier, guess who's going to call you? Your 17-year-old that you just dropped off at college who's now having a bad day and wants to talk to dad for an hour and a half. And now it's 10:30 and you're like, I don't go to bed at 10:30. I wake up at 4:30. I don't want to wake up. And as soon as 4:30, like, you're going to look over and you go, well, I missed an hour and a half of sleep. I should probably sleep in. You know, coronavirus, I don't want to decrease my immunity. I should probably sleep in. You'll talk yourself into staying in bed no matter what. Here's the thing. If you said you're going to do it, guess what you should do? Do it. Exactly. So make your commitment, move it forward. If you're tired, guess what you should do? Do it. Do it. That's the exact reason you should do it. Now, I'm going to hit this later, the whole pain thing. So if you guys have joints that are in pain, I'm going to give you guys some real solutions on that. Okay, so let me just drop that for a second. The problem with motivation. What's the problem with motivation? It fails you. It ends. Right? Now, let me go work out with you every single day for a month. Right? Are you going to probably work out a little bit harder if I'm looking over you going, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Like this coaching thing, I'm going to coach this camp this weekend. I guarantee you it's going to be nothing but spa time and nails and massages. It's going to be really good to get a lot of spa time with my team. We may do burpees. I'm just saying. But you're going to get on that plane. But here, listen to me. So crazy part, watch this. If I'm over you and you're doing push-ups or burpees or air squats or whatever else, you're going to go harder. But when you're by yourself, it can be a little different. Motivation's not going to last. So you have to have some commitment. Got it? And you have to really want to do it. And I don't think that fear is a good motivator. I think hope is. I think the world, through coronavirus and everything else, leads with fear. You're going to die. You're going to kill somebody else, whatever else. I think hope is a way better motivator. Although I will say this, knowing the realities of a situation that if you don't start moving, it doesn't work out very good for you, I think it's actually partly a good motivator too. You need to actually have the reality of the situation. My mom's a good example at 78. Not that I said that online, but but she goes, people she's graduated high school with are in nursing homes. So she goes and sees them, and a lot of them are passing away. They can't move, they can't do anything. And my mom actually doesn't like to have friends her age. She has to have friends in her 40s because nobody can keep up with her, right? Like she actually went with like a bunch of 60-something-year-olds to like Branson. And she's like, all they want to do is just sit around. I'm like, she goes, let's go have an adventure. They're like, oh, we're going to have some tea. She's like, that's the last trip I ever go on with those people. Like, she's like to go jump off of cliffs and like go do CrossFit workouts in new towns and stuff. So motivation's going to end, okay? Benefits of exercise. I don't have to tell you the benefits. Everybody here knows the benefits, right? Cancer goes down, heart disease goes down, blood pressure goes down, your mood gets better, sex life is better, or whatever. I didn't say that in front of the child. But like, energy's better. Everything is better. You're more resilient to stress. You guys get that? Like this is an untapped, if I had a treasure chest full of like gold doubloons in your yard, it's almost like, well, I don't really believe it's out there. No, it's there. You just got to dig it up. It just takes a little work. And I'm telling you, exercise is awesome for that. So here's this. What is the best form of exercise for optimal results? Period. There's always an argument about it. Is it high intensity interval training? Is it running? Is it like what CrossFit? Is it more like Orange Theory? Is it yoga? How about Pilates? All right, some Pilates people in here? Like, what is it? And I can tell you right now, definitively, exactly right now, I'm gonna square it for the rest of the world right now. You guys ready? It is, watch this, whatever exercise that you like to do that you will do consistently from now on. So for me, it might be CrossFitting. For you, it may be biking. For you, it may be walking. Whatever. Does it make sense? Here's the thing. Don't come to CrossFit with me if you hate CrossFit. Don't commit to it, because guess what's going to happen at 4:30? You're like, oh no, not again. But if you don't mind something or you enjoy something at least a little bit, right? I have people that love to ride bikes, love it, love riding bikes. And I have people that love being on their shoes and then like walking or jogging or mileage that way. I have people that love to swim. Like I was on the swim team and they just beat me to death for like 4 miles every time I went to the swim team. Up and down, up and down. Guess how much I love to swim for exercise now? No, I hate to swim for exercise now. Like just drown me. I'm good, I'm out. Jesus, I'm coming. But it's whatever you like. So the best exercise, guess what? Just pick it. Watch this now. Could it change? Yeah. Yes, it can change. It's okay. Like right now we got a Peloton and we got a treadmill and we built a CrossFit gym at our house. Our CrossFit gym closed after 7 years, almost every day working out with these people, and they were floating it with their personal money until they just couldn't anymore because of this whole COVID thing. So they closed their doors forever. So we're like in mourning for not seeing our friends and family we work out with. But we built this. So guess what? I started Pelotoning, right? At first I was like, I don't know. And now it's like, oh yeah, bring me some Peloton. Like it's like this competition thing. I'm very competitive. I like that. Also, I hated being on a treadmill. I said I would never be a treadmill person. But guess what I do? I actually have this TV kind of like this in front of my treadmill, and I'll just turn on a movie or something I can just like watch and like totally turn my brain off. And my cognitive crazy guy that's like this all the time gets to completely go on vacation. I'm just like this. I looked up the other day, I ran for an hour and a half. I didn't even realize it had been an hour and a half. Right? So find something that you love and it can change. Be open to that. Is that okay? Everybody good with that? Yep. Good. Here's the crazy part. You guys do have Max T3, and the majority of all of you guys haven't even tried it yet. You got a bookmark, and you can just open it up and then go, and it literally goes right to Max T3. And they have multiple sessions now. They have Max T3 1 and Max T3 2. That's awesome, yeah. Now next, here about this one. When's the best time to exercise to have the greatest hormone response? Healing your hormones, best weight reduction, best muscle gain, best toning, best time to exercise? Morning time. When's the second best time? Anytime. Anytime. You can exercise anytime. When I was in college, I used to exercise at 11 o'clock at night just because my brain, from trying to memorize, like that, I have a photographic memory, so that's how I did everything going through school. It's like cheating legally. And so I would just exhaustingly like and my brain would be buzzing by the time that I got done, and I would have to do something to be able to sleep. And so I would literally leave about 11 and I would go run until like 12:31. I had 24-hour fitness. I would just run like for 2 hours, and then I would get tired. And when I felt tired on the treadmill, I'd just go home, take a shower, and go right to bed, right? But guess what? You can exercise when? Anytime. Oh, I can't exercise at night, I can't sleep. Well, don't exercise at night. Exercise at lunch. Well, I can't exercise at lunch. I don't have time. Well, exercise when? In the morning. It doesn't matter. Just get up and do it. Got it? How long does it take to exercise?
Not long.
Not long. You could do 12 minutes, right? Okay, everybody got it? Best time. First time is when? Morning. Second best time is when? Anytime. Anytime. Got it? Now, I do like this. Short duration, high intensity interval training, okay, or high intensity exercise. Okay, this is what Max T3 is. Okay, why do I like that? Because it actually creates a post-exercise oxygen demand that actually is second to none. Right? Now I think there are benefits in moving, period. I just said walking just 30 minutes, right? I don't want to hear excuse. If you just walk 30 minutes, you'd reverse most diseases, okay? Or keep yourself from having it. But this is high intensity. Now the problem with most people's exercise is you never get yourself going intensive enough. You're not going hard enough, okay? To get yourself into a sweat or get yourself into an oxygen demand. For instance, I always make fun of it, but just hear me out. If you just walk, though, it's fine. I'd rather you do that than nothing. But I have a lot of people when they go and walk, they get on a treadmill, they're at a gym or something, and they're like having a book and they're reading a book and they're waving to their friends. How you doing? Not really sweating. Reading a book right there. And then they finish and they're like, okay, I'm good, like this. But they never were like this. This morning, that's exactly what I looked like. And here's the thing. It felt good, but guess what I just did? I just pushed my oxygen demand for the next 36 hours. And guess what I'm gonna do tomorrow morning though? I'm gonna push it again, right? This is why. The reason is because it optimizes hormones, increases fat burning, and it boosts muscle building. Whether you wanna build muscles or not, we all wanna be toned, and this is the biggest reason. So this is classic cardio. So like get on a treadmill, go for 30 minutes or an hour, right? Or a bike or something like this. This is 12 minutes of max T3 or some kind of short duration, high intensity exercise, right? So the intensity though is what? Intense. Did you hear that? Like you can't do like a max T3 workout and then let me film you or call you right afterwards. You're like, hey, what's up, Dr. Dave? What's going on? Like this. If I called you, you'd be like, I gotta go. Then you just hang up on me, right? Because you have to be completely out of breath. It's an oxygen demand. Got it? But here's the thing. The post-exercise oxygen consumption here goes way, way down after this real fast. Got it? But after a high-intensity workout, it actually stays high for a long time. It has a change in that. You start burning fat better for the next 36 to 48 hours. Raise your hand if you'd like the type of exercise to have benefits for the next 36 hours, right? Awesome. This is why a lot of people doing classic cardio have a hard time gaining muscle or getting like tone, is because they're just not actually using oxygen the way they want to, right? So is there benefits maybe higher in high intensity? Yes, but guys, just move. It all charges the batteries. It's all good. Got it? I mean, Bob is so classically, actually both these guys are. I mean, I remember talking to Bob. Bob didn't run because his knee was shot, right? And then he ended up walking, and then to chagrin and surprise, he's like, whoa, I jogged and my knee's good. Why? Because the movement did what? Healed the knee. It healed the knee. The cartilage grows back. The synovial fluid, it actually comes back. Easy stuff. Now, I like Max T3. You just have to what? Do it. Just go look at it. I love it. This is why it's kind of confusing, this slide. This is what we don't want to do. We don't want to build fat and waste muscle. If you go like way too high intensity for too long, sometimes you'll see like people that do like hour-and-a-half runs where they're just way too high in intensity, you'll see them actually start building fat and wasting muscle. These are the skinny fat people. You know what I'm talking about? Skinny fat. Has anybody seen the skinny fat people? Right? You know what I'm talking about? Like they look fairly thin, but you actually start doing a body fat analysis. They've got like a 28, 32% body fat, and they're just skinny little tiny people. It's because they literally catabolize all their stuff. So it is. But we want this anabolic, right? Which means what? It actually builds muscle, burns fat. That's usually high intensity. We can actually get that from other things too, but that's what we want. The 3 T's of Max T3, some of you guys never knew this. Time, type, tempo. You can dial it and change it, and it actually hits as you do what's actually prescribed in the Max T3. It hits all those different metabolic processes higher, lower, shorter, faster. You know, some are super fast, some are not as fast. You guys see that? Yeah. And we hit it for different tempos, and that's why we dial it in for the physiological response. So I love that. This is one great way you can do it. It should be 220 minus your age times 0.8, right? So 80%. You want to try and get it up to 80% of your heart rate max. So 220 minus your age is heart rate max. That is kind of a, I don't know if I agree completely with that, but that's what the textbooks will show you. 220 minus your age. Then you times it by 0.8 to get 80%. But I'm too lazy to do that. I just want to be honest, I'm too lazy. I don't want to look at a heart rate monitor and do all this. So guess what I do? If I'm out of breath, I'm reaching my demand. Got it? So guess what it means? I got to be what? Out of breath. Okay, so you can do that as well. Again, that's just maybe the lazy part of me. Next, protect your joints. You guys ready for this? Okay, so there is high impact and low impact. What is high? Give me some examples of high impact. Come on. Running, jumping jacks. Is jumping jacks high impact? Yeah. Yes. Plyometrics, like this, high impact. Anybody else? Anything else? Box jumps would be, yeah. That's good. So just anything where both your feet leave the ground at the same time. Got it? That would be, if you're not touching the ground, that's high impact. As long as one foot is still touching the ground, it's considered low impact. Got it? Walking is low impact, biking, swimming, yoga, Pilates, these things are low impact. Got it? Now, do I think that you should never do high impact? No, I think you should do it in a way that is good. Like I will tell you this, I don't do box jumps most of the time for CrossFit. I do box steps, so I step up onto the box and down and I'll switch legs. I don't like the jarring on that for me, but I still do it sometimes. Got it? Right? So I think there's sometimes we can do that. But protecting your joints means that we pick some things, more things that are lower impact. Got it? Everybody with me? It's good stuff. Okay. I love swimming. I was on the swim team. I don't like swimming now for exercise, just because actually most places you do it, they're chlorinated pools, and I breathed in so much chlorine as a swimmer. I could pretty much bleach my own clothes now with my sweat. But let's do this. So how do you also protect your joints? This is another way that you protect your joints is through chiropractic care, okay? Because, for instance, one of the reasons I think, who's heard this? Long distance walking or running is not good for your joints, and if you do that, eventually you will not going to be able to do it anymore because you have a hip replacement, etc. Anybody hear that? Some of you guys believe that, or you've heard that, but like Bob's a great example. If you actually maintain proper alignment of your pelvis, back, hip, neck, shoulder, head, so that this thing, every time you take a step, is exactly equal, then how much stress is on one knee versus the other? None. But if it's unequal, then I've got more stress on one knee than the other. Do you guys get that? Now if I'm doing long distance and I'm out just a little bit, now I'm putting more shear, and this is when you have people go, you know, I didn't really injure it, just started hurting one day. Anybody have that? Right? Some of you guys weren't even running. You guys were just walking. You're like, it just started hurting one day. Guess what? It's out of alignment. Here's the thing. If you really want longevity in your joints or movement in general, guess what you should be doing? Making sure you're getting great chiropractic care to make sure that you're aligned so that your body lasts the way that it's supposed to. That's the greatest thing I can tell you as far as longevity with movement. Got it? Period. Next, watch this, okay? This is, again, I brag on this thing. Do this. Everybody say imbibition. Imbibition. Imbibition is the process in which you actually rehydrate the discs. It happens only at night and only when you're out of gravity, which is why people that sleep in recliners and they're not sleeping flat, or they've actually had issues with like congestion, they're having to sleep with their bed elevated to one side, their discs do not heal like they should, and they will wear out faster. You have to be out of gravity for the most part for your discs to be able to rehydrate, otherwise you will have issues with your discs eventually. This is a magic trick. This is like a magic wand for longevity for your spine. If I actually went to your house, you should know, actually this should be moving around. You'd be like, I use it so much, I don't know where it is right now. It's on this couch, it's in the kitchen, this should be, in fact, actually, if you come to our house, guess how many of these we have? Like 13 or something like this at my house. They're everywhere. Do you know why? Because we use them. Got it? In fact, we have the old ones that were square and black. You guys remember those? Jenkins, did you get any of those? Like the square black ones, you blow up, you can travel with them easier? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay? Now, let me just talk for this for a second. I had people ask me about joint support supplementation, okay? This is about 5 years ago, I really started getting it from my mom, okay? Guess what they were talking about? Glucosamine chondroitin sulfate. Got it? Now, does it have scientific data to back up that it's good for joints? Sure it does. 2,000 milligrams a day. There was a study, they showed that it actually was good for your joints. The problem with it is glucosamine chondroitin sulfate is actually a very large molecule, and it can increase pressure gradients in the kidney and put undue stress on the kidneys, which the population of people that you would not want to do that with is who? Elderly and people that are already on a bunch of drugs, right? But guess who's actually looking for their joint health? People on a bunch of drugs and people that are older. You get that? So we needed to come up with something that's actually good. So we did in Max Living. You guys are the first people to hear about this supplement, and I did it specifically for, like 10 people asked me in 1 week one time. I'm like, I have got to do something different, because guess what? If you don't get it from me, guess where you're gonna go? I'm gonna go get it from Costco or these different places. I'm gonna go get some cheap stuff. It's not gonna be good. So we put this together. This is what it is. Let's just say this. If you were gonna make a supplement that's natural, that works, How would you make a supplement for joints? You probably put some anti-inflammatory herbs in there, right? So it decreases inflammation. That's what arthritis is. Arthro means joint, itis means inflammation. So something that decreases inflammation. Then you probably put something that actually helps rebuild cartilage, right? Or maintain good cartilage health, right? Which would be collagen, right? Who here's right now, who's heard about a fad of everybody taking collagen? Bunch of collagen, collagen this, collagen that, collagen this. The problem with it is collagen is made from what source? An animal. What animal? Say it. Cows, bovine. The problem with it is, what are cows, the majority of all cows fed? Antibiotics, hormones, they're vaccinated, they got corn, they're just all grain fed, right? And so what happens is you actually get collagen from 90% of the sources, and it's an inflammatory supplement. So you actually take something for arthritis, and it's actually what? Inflammatory, right? It's the opposite. So you had to do, number one, you had to get collagen from a place that's not inflammatory, so cows that are like loved on and they're scratched behind the ear and they're given grass and, you know, loved on, like healthy cows. And then you have to use everybody say bioavailable. Bioavailable collagen. And here's the thing, you need to use a type of collagen, not like type 3 or whatever, I don't know, 6 different whatever. You need to use type 1, right? So a hyaluronic acid and a polysaccharide together with type 2, which is actually the main ingredient in cartilage. And it has to be in a way that actually helps you take that and then make it. So crazy. And watch this, what's crazy is the two inflammatory or anti-inflammatory herbs that's in there. One is Brucella, right? That it literally is a crazy anti-inflammatory. But if you actually look, gingerol, which is the anti-inflammatory thing that's in ginger, is also an anti-inflammatory, but actually it has a synergistic effect. If I take Boswellia and gingerol together, they actually have a higher effect than they would singularly. Does it make sense? And so we actually pick things purposely for this, and it's the only product that I know of. Here's the crazy part, within 7 days of taking this product, you'll actually see changes in where your joints are. Who here, when you first wake up in the morning, you get out of bed and you hear this? Snap, crack. Like you couldn't sneak up on anybody, right? Or you sit down at the desk too long and you get up and you're snap, your ankle pops and you crack this like this. That's inflammation in joints, right? And so guess what? This is a really great, what is Rice Krispie sounds, right? I'm just saying, like your friends are looking at you like, broke something. You just broke something. So joint health. Now, I got this. If you guys are interested in this, just take a look at this. I've got like it's like a joint health comparison survey. Like I really wanted you guys to see what differentiates this and why we worked so hard on this. It took several years to put this together. So just look at it. Here's some of you guys are really going to press in this next month. And again, as soon as you actually commit and press in, things are going to start to what? No, say it. Things are going to start to what? Hurt. No, they're going to hurt, people. Sorry. You're like, I'm going to lose weight like in 2 days. No, you're going to start hurting, right? Your joints are going to start having to adapt. You're going to be sore from lactic acid. And guess what I'm going to tell you? Press in, but some of you guys don't have the intestinal fortitude and the substrate to actually get through this, which is why we put this together. Got it? So first of all, the joint health is going to help with the joints. Collagen, it's going to be heaping amounts of collagen, so you actually help through the healing process through soft tissue, which is including muscle. And then the curcumin is what? Heavy anti-inflammatory and also antioxidant for a lot of because you're pushing oxygen in hardcore, and having free radicals from a lot of stuff you guys have been in the past will help you not have as many free radicals. Got it? So this is what I want you to do for 1 month as you press in. Everybody with me? Now, there's a perspective as well. Some of you guys like the data. I'm kind of a cognitive guy. If there's ever data, I want it. Just give it to me. This has data on every single thing I'm talking about as far as how to use the 5 essentials for joint health. You guys get those. And I want to answer some questions on movement and nutrition, okay? One of the things I get is, as far as before a workout, the best thing to do is to work out on what kind of stomach? Empty. An empty stomach. It actually has a better hormone response. But I said that's the first time of the day. What's the second best time? Anytime. So if you're actually going to exercise later in the day, you want to try and not be on a full stomach, obviously, right? You want to at least wait about 30 minutes or so, maybe longer than that. Got it? But at least 30 minutes. Everybody with me? Now, 2 hours before, again, later, like if we're going to work out later in the day, if you're going to actually eat something, you want to be more with balanced carbs, proteins, and fats. Why? Because we don't want to be, have this high blood sugar like I eat a Snickers and then go work out, right? We We want to have good fats and carbs. Which lasts longer, carbs or fats, as far as working out? Fats last longer, exactly. And easily digested food if it's going to be soon to it. Also, hydration is key, and I'm going to talk about that here in a second, okay? During a workout, you want to try and get 4 to 6 ounces every 15 to 20 minutes. Now, I'm working out outside, like this morning, we were out there for an hour, and who saw it was muggy this morning? I'm going to apologize, it's like 100 degrees, it's muggy and it's super hot. It was like 80 something and like 100% humidity out there. And so I'm just sweat bombing everywhere in my workout. So I drank 30 ounces of water in an hour, right? I'm actually over 3 of those, so I'm 90 ounces of water into the day. But the point is, this is very important. Some people go, well, how much water do I need to drink? Well, I don't know, if you're not sweat bombing outside, probably not as much. But guess what? If you are, it should be higher. This is just a starting point. Everybody with me? It's good. Now, dangers of sport drinks. As soon as I start saying sweating, you guys, well, I gotta get my electrolytes. No, sport drinks are usually crap. They're full of just absolute toxic ingredients, artificial sweeteners, high fructose corn syrups, dyes to make them the cool colors, refined sugar, artificial flavors. And you're like, well, you do need some sugar because you gotta burn sugar because you're doing long distance stuff. No, people, come on. So what is a good alternative? This is one of the best things that I've found. Max Keto electrolytes. It's kind of my secret here, my superhero secret stash. It tastes like sweat. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, don't buy it and go, what the hell is this? Well, this is crazy. Like, it's literally, in fact, don't think that more is better, because then you'll be like, I gotta get rid of that. Can't drink that. But like 1 or 2 drops all together, it is amazing how fast. I actually had somebody actually starting keto and they were having headaches. Anybody? And they just did a little bit of this drops, like 1 drop in their water, instantly headaches went away, right? Because it was an electrolyte issue, okay? And so doing electrolytes while you're actually, because what happens is why? Because you're working out and you're drinking water, right? But what is sweat? What is sweat? I'll get there. It's salt, it's toxins, it's water, right? It's also sugar. Basically, you're losing sugar there too. And so it's all of those things. So, but when I'm drinking water, I'm just putting water back. So guess what? My electrolytes should be off because I'm just drinking water. So guess what? You do need electrolytes in there. So you say, well, if I get sports drinks. No, Gatorade, don't do Gatorade, okay? And I don't have to say Gatorade, there's lots of them out there. But let's do this. After a workout, what should you eat? What's the worst thing you can eat after a workout?
Candy bar.
Anything that's high glycemic index, okay? And we're gonna pretend this is, I didn't make this slide, this is grapefruit juice. But it's literally high fat, good protein, maybe even complex carb, but it's more of a fat. Got it? So I do mine pre-breakfast, right? So what do you think breakfast is for me?
Avocado.
Usually high fat and protein. What is the absolute best protein source that you can get for post-workout? Eggs is super good. Actually, even more digestible than eggs is what? A good, clean whey protein. Whey protein. Now actually, I will make a case for egg whites. Egg whites very easily digestible too. You can be like Rocky. Tuck that back. Nobody? Then try our shakes. You're really better. So, but watch this. You want to try and eat within 45 minutes of the workout, so it actually helps with hormone and muscle development. Got it? Got it? So how far? How long? 45 minutes. So try and eat within 45 minutes of the workout. Okay? Good stuff.
Does it have to be a full meal or just?
Does not have to be a full meal, but you do want fat and proteins in there for sure. What kind of fats? Heavy, good fats. So like when I do shakes, I do whey protein, and I do, our whey protein, I like the vanilla, and I do coconut milk, full fat, or I use cream in that, and then I'll do 1 or 2, 3, 4 big strawberries that are frozen, and then we're good to go. Got it? Easy stuff.
That's your breakfast.
That's breakfast, yeah. That's breakfast. Now, sometimes I'll actually be in a building phase, so I want to really build some muscle. I'll increase my proteins, so I'll increase that. I'll even do a shake and like a couple eggs. I found some organic chicken sausage that's high protein, high fat, and low carb. So I'll do that sometimes too. Sometimes I'll even do a breakfast taco with siete tortillas, but they do have a little bit more carbs than I like for keto. I can't do very many of that. Yeah.
So how important is the post-workout work?
It really is important. It depends on what your goals are. Like if your goal is weight loss, You can really keep it small, you keep it trim. You don't have to do a big meal, but you do need to have something, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to starve your body, because it'll go into catabolism and it'll start teaching your body to actually build fat and catabolize muscle. And so trying to eat within that 45-minute window will actually keep you in anabolic hormones rather than catabolic. So it's good.
So you have to have protein and fat. not
Protein and
just
fat,
vegetable.
yeah. I do have some carbs, because like the
Yeah.
berries and
Yeah.
stuff, and like the siete tortillas when I do come with some of those. But you really want to stay more towards the proteins and fats. Got it? Good. And make sure it's good sourced. Guys, some of you guys are doing protein mixes and stuff for like muscle building and stuff. That stuff is so horrifically bad. I can't even tell you some of the like artificial sweeteners and stuff in there. You guys don't want to do that. So, does that help? Now, I get asked this all the time. How about building muscle mass? You know, I've got friends that are bodybuilders and things like this. How do I build muscle? Well, what are muscles made of? Protein. So what do you just instinctively know that you need to increase? Protein. Well, and I don't want to talk about some of the carbs, so like if you're going to build muscle, you can actually do more core plan, and you want to do some like brown rice and some different things I'm not going to get into that. It's actually pretty complicated. But what I will say is this. This is where you want to get it. Like this is like, if you look, the problem with the plant proteins is they are really good. They're not complete aminos, they're almost complete aminos, but they're lower in what? They're lower in proteins. And these are proteins that you get from literal just the whey proteins that we have. Got it? The bone broth, or the pure path bone protein is the highest. I really like this. This is great. So I would lean more towards this, and I have actually. I really, this was my favorite. The whey in vanilla. It's my favorite. But this one is really kind of my favorite now, just because I can get 4 more grams in there, and I can actually do that more of a meal replacement. Got it? Yeah.
The post-workout, you want how many grams of protein?
So again, for one serving, over here. No, so this is not protein. This is just this is literally just for recovery. This is where you're really just counting your proteins from this. Got it? Max Fit also helps with recovery too. It's like lactic acid and the insertional tendonitis that you get. It really helps with recovering from that. Also, Max Fit also helps you lean up and lose weight. It actually helps with adapting to stress. Some of you guys have actually gained weight through COVID just because it's been so stressful. You didn't know why. Didn't change your diet at all. Got it? Yeah.
So what if you get up at like 8 or 8:30, you don't start eating until 12?
Yep.
And you stop at 7 or 8?
Yep.
Would you say you try to exercise around right before you eat?
Yeah.
At 12?
Yeah, just do it. If you have, that's the other reason that we actually did the window for us. Our eating window is 6:30 to 12:30, right? And the reason it's 6:30 to 12:30 is because guess when we finish our workout? 6. And so we cook breakfast and then eat it, and then off we go into our day. Got it? Make sense? And so we don't eat dinner. Like, I'm not going home to eat dinner tonight. It was easy for us because I get home so late anyway, right? So some of you guys will actually do, lunch and dinner instead of breakfast and lunch, and so it's easier to do that.
It's
Got it?
okay though to get up early and then not do anything until 12?
Sure it is. Absolutely it is. Right. For sure. And actually, a lot of your hormone cycles revolve around when you eat, not just when you wake. Okay, good. Next. Okay, sweating. I got to talk about this. If you know somebody that doesn't sweat, it is not good. There's 3 real reasons why people don't sweat. Number 1, your intensity is not high enough, or you're not in Texas, because I don't know what that is. But your intensity is not high enough. That's the first one. Second one is dehydration. Most people don't realize that if you're dehydrated even a little bit, it actually will keep you from sweating, which is not a good thing in Texas. Let me tell you, it can be dangerous. You want to sweat. And then last but not least, actually there's probably 2 more, subluxation. My wife, she broke her back as a gymnast, and so she had that. She also was hit by 6 or 7 drunk drivers in high school and college. One of them dislocated her arm permanently, and they had to cut muscles off of her back and then attach them across her shoulder to hold her shoulder in. My wife cannot do this, by the way. She can't put deodorant. She has to put deodorant like this. She cannot reach across. Some of you guys will never see that. But so she had all this sympathetic drive firing into her spinal cord that actually the sympathetics, keeping her parasympathetics from rising, she couldn't sweat. So my wife literally, when we met, did not sweat. And I knew enough from cancer patients and stuff that, the one thing that all cancer patients have in common is usually they just don't sweat. And so I was like, so she actually went and she did high intensity interval training on a treadmill at the gym. And one day she came home and she goes, "Ooh, my Lord." She goes, "I stink." She goes, "It's pungent." I was like, "Yes, it's awesome." She goes, "But I didn't sweat at all in this armpit." It was the one that had the injury because of all the sympathetics. And so some of you guys, just the sympathetic drive from having your spine subluxated will keep you from sweating. Do you get that? So subluxation can be part of that, so get adjusted. And then last but not least, sometimes toxicity. Some of you guys are so toxic with mold exposure or chemical exposures that sometimes that will halt that off too. And so sometimes detoxification. But do you know, realize sweating actually gets rid of PCBs and some of the plastics and some of the hardcore crazy stuff. Your body actually sweats that out. And if you're not sweating, you're not actually using one of your pathways. Do you get that? Huge pathway for this. So sweating, really, really good. There's water, salt, sugar, and chemicals right there. It's the cooling process of the body, releases toxins. If you can't, this is a good opportunity for you guys to start getting your body to start doing this, which is why we have infrared sauna. Some of you guys' gyms have these now. We have one here right there in the room. Great place to really start to sweat. It actually activates because it actually penetrates with infrared rays, which is not just heat, it's infrared rays, and it mobilizes fat. And you guys, who's done infrared before? Do you sweat different in infrared than you do just heat? Yeah. It's crazy. Like it just starts, like you just start, like you're boiling from the inside out, like sweat coming out of you. It's a really good, that's why we got it, because we got it for cancer patients who didn't sweat to get that going. Got it? So sweating, very, very good, and you can get that here. Why can't you sweat? We went through those things very easily, okay?
Can you sweat too much?
Now there is some situations where people actually do sweat too much. That's a whole different thing. I see most of the time people that don't sweat enough. I have seen 2 people in the last 5 years or so that had a situation where they literally couldn't stop sweating, which actually can be dangerous too, because then you're hypovolemic, you're like dehydrated constantly. That generally has to do with a dysregulation of that autonomic nervous system as well. Really does well with adjustments as well, so many that you know. Action steps, what does this look like? What do we say? We got to commit. Everybody say commit. Commit. What does this look like? We got to commit, we got to do something. Well, it means that we're going to start off with a step it up. So I want you guys, before you walk out of this building, you don't have to have this plan all written out, but I want you to commit to at least the detail of what you're going to step it up in. We're talking about movement. I think everybody here can step it up in movement. Got it? Now, did I say go get ready for a marathon in the next 4 months? No, I didn't. Now, you could do that. But what I'm saying is I want you to commit to something, anything. And what you'll find is riding your bike, awesome, perfect. What you'll find is as you get going, you're going to get encouraged. Got it? And that's all you'll need. Questions? Anybody got questions on anything I said before we walk out?
I've always heard, or I have heard, that whey protein is not good.
And listen, and for the most part, people are right. Most whey proteins are really bad, horrific stuff. The problem with it is a good, clean whey protein is one of the most easily digested proteins for the body. We use it a lot for like cancer patients and things like this, but it has to have a really clean source. And that is hard to find. Yeah, it's good. Other questions? Yeah, Mama.
We heard earlier in the session that if you weigh 100 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
you have to drink like 50 ounces of
Yeah, so half your body weight in ounces. That's a good starting point. But again, nobody really knows what you need as far as how much water you need. Depends on your antidiuretic hormone health. It depends on how much your activity is. Like depends on the time of the year. It's all different, right? I would say it's a good starting point though. Like I am literally at over 100 ounces now, which is pretty good for my, because I'm 200 pounds. But I sweat as if I was, bleeding out this morning, right? I mean, I have to clean up the spot where I was running. And so if you're not doing that, then maybe you don't need as much, right? But guess what's in there?
Electrolytes.
Yeah, store-bought sweat. Yeah, you're welcome. Try that. You're gonna love it. Good question. Anybody else? Any other questions?
It has nothing to do with really this, but the recipe for the fat bombs. Have you ever
Oh,
made
yeah.
it with like almond butter or
So
something other
that's some of the
than-
stuff that we're doing, yes, and you can make it with almond butter, cashew butter, walnut butter, all kind of stuff. The fat bombs, you can get nuts on that fat bomb recipe, and you look online and you see people have. I've not tried it, but my next thing with fat bombs is the cashew butter. I make my own cashew butter in my Vitamix. Get nuts, get crazy. Get nuts. Cha-ching. Awesome. Anybody else? Yes?
Whey protein is not available. What's the second best thing?
The pure path, the bone broth, the bone protein, and then the next one is the plant. I like the plant too. It's super uber clean. Like you talk about clean, that is some clean stuff. It just doesn't have as high a protein, so it depends on what you're wanting to do. I keep some around all the time because I like to switch it up. Anybody else hate the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? Switching it up kind of helps me with taste and stuff.
This wasn't part of it, but like we got the greens.
Yeah.
Greens.
Oh, so good.
Mike right now,
Yeah.
Just mix both of them. Don't drink anything.
Yeah.
But I just to help boost.
Yeah. So the Max Greens has 34 different vegetables in it that are that literally still have all the vitamin fingerprint, and so that's really good. Also, it's great for your colon because it has all the fiber to it. That it's a prebiotic for bacterial growth. Some of you guys don't do that. Raise your hand if you've taken that product, Max Greens. If you've taken it, raise your hand. And again, now watch this. Put your hands down. Raise your hand if you know that when you take it, that your bowel movements are better. Right? So like I'm telling you, awesome product for that. So good stuff. It's good for colon health as well. I put it in shakes too, and sometimes. Now, if you don't like the taste, that chocolatey green taste, you can do greens first. It's kind of minty. Don't use it if you're on homeopathy, because that'll eliminate your remedy. It'll antidote it. But this is really minty and fresh. I like to put it over ice. It's really good. Got it. If you need your greens, you can do it that way. Greens first. We have that up front. Anybody else? Did you guys learn something tonight? You ready to start moving? All right, let's just pray it up. Father, we love you and praise you. Thank you for an awesome time. Thank you for time together. And I ask God that you bless every single person here, that as we take these small steps to really take care of the vehicles that you gave us to run this race in, that you would meet us, Father, as a loving Father, to get up and take God-sized steps towards us as we take steps towards you. So God, we just love you and praise you. Ask a blessing on every single person, that you make us not only infectious with hope, that you would be encouragement, like Kristen and Bob have been to their friends around them, that every single person here would literally be that exact thing, that spark that ignites flames for everybody around. So God, we just love you and praise you. Ask a blessing on everybody here in Jesus' name. Amen. Online, guys, thanks for being with us. Love you much. We'll see you next time.